very interesting indeed. Let's have a little look at this.
Mm.
I'm going to repeat this. Let's have a little look, shall we?
Yeah. What are you looking at?
How strange life is.
Mm-hmm.
And that do we like making problems? Is it that other people don't see it? Or is it that we do see it, but love to whinge about it? Do you often think so? Do you think we just like to complain about stuff?
Yeah,
I think it's addictive.
quite often, yeah. In some nations, it's even tradition, like in my nation. You meet someone, here you say, how are you? And everyone is pretending everything's fine. And in my country, you say, how are you? And they will say, oh, you won't believe what happened to me, and blah, blah, blah.
And
and
then we shut
complain.
that down really quickly because it's whinging, but where did you learn it?
Mm.
Because when we look at children, they don't often act the same way, do they?
Yeah, it's
It's
inherited
inherited, yeah.
from the older ones, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyways, have a look at this. So, I don't know if there's one up here. Maybe there is. Get a load of this, right?
Yeah.
Now, in teaching Litland, it's basically the national curriculum. We've got all of the books, and she's far more ahead because it's one-on-one, and it feels a little bit unfair, to be honest, that she's one-on-one and is starting to do her study for her GCSEs. I don't know if it could be something like that. Forgive my stuttering, I have had a little bit of drink, so where was it? We were focusing in on something. But there again, what would you do if you sorted out all of the problems that were inside this book? It looks like a blueprint, right?
Yeah.
And it's only certain bits that you would look at. So we understand that energy is an issue, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no finite source of energy, even if you go nuclear. There's no finite source of it.
Hmm.
Not yet. So, whatever, it doesn't matter. So energy seems to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we in the situation that we're in? That makes you ask better questions, doesn't it? What else was there? We were looking at something which was very fascinating. I don't often read one page after the other because it's pointless. I usually skim and things stand out. It's a great way to learn, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Because then you feel more in control of your learning, yes?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's in this one or the other one. Can't particularly remember. Anyway, it was blah, blah, blah. Something about that there's not enough food and people want better foods and this, that and the other and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. So, what if everybody went vegan here in this nation?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think would happen?
No idea.
Well, companies wouldn't like that very much, would they? Because meat is very expensive.
Yeah.
But then can you make people go vegan because it's too expensive?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you make it rot really quickly, you get people to buy more food.
Yeah.
And then you have to import more. There was something else in here that said that you had foods for miles, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Which it meant how many miles does the food travel?
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere along the line, you might look at that as a good thing. And somewhere along the line, you might look at it as a bad thing, right? That the food traveled.
Yeah.
Therefore, it put a carbon footprint on it. Because we can only grow foods here at certain times of the year, like I think it was asparagus was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? And then there's also parts about bacteria can cause food poisoning and different stuff like that. Which is interesting. Fever, general symptoms, sickness. We all know the other ones. Stomach cramps. Everyone is very vulnerable to this and it can lead to death. You can get food poisoning by eating contaminated foods, pathogens, bacteria. It can take a few hours to several days before you get any symptoms. And the thing is that this stuff is odorless. You can't smell it.
Yeah.
You can't taste it.
Yeah.
and you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that an interesting thing? And
Yeah.
these little pathogens, the longer they're alive for, they're learning.
Mm-hmm.
So every time someone gets sick, it's learnt in its database.
Mm-hmm.
So the life forms database.
Mm-hmm.
And when you chuck away food or you give away old food, and it seems like it's such a great thing to give it away for free, but only to certain types of people, yeah?
Mm.
And even if they do eat it, don't they run a higher risk of grabbing something? So what happens when you eat meat that is on the day that it's going to go bad, and it takes 12 hours to get through your system? Isn't it already bad by the time we reach 6 hours, depending on where you eat it?
Probably, yeah.
So if it was to go bad at, I don't know, let's say midnight,
Mm-hmm.
very basic number here, let's give it some of that. So it's going to go bad at midnight, but you go to a shop and you eat it at 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take to go through your system before that is bad? Before the bacteria is at dangerous levels? Does that have an effect because it's got to travel through you? And then will we see the rise in prostate cancer?
I think it will be when it enters your stomach, because stomach is very acidic and will kill bacteria. But if it's already too much, then it won't.
So where is too much? That's the question. And then
For each, probably different.
yeah, it is
Yeah,
very
for each
interesting.
pathogen and yeah.
What happens if you store food in gases as opposed to freeze them? You starve the thing that creates the life forms to exist comfortably, and you remove that completely. Do you kill it all? So let's say that
you
it was
prolong the life of the for example, apples are stored like that, aren't they? So there's no oxygen, so they last, and then they put them in shop and you buy them and they shrivel quite quickly after that, because
well, they only shrivel when you take them out of the shop.
Exactly.
But if you have a certain type of light, it doesn't trigger this growth off. And has there ever been any shops that have rubbed the food with anything? Anything to make it prolong that reacts to the light? Often than not, do you ever see any windows inside shops? Only at the front, but nowhere near any food. Why? Have you ever noticed how quickly they degrade when you take them out of the shop? Why is that? Now that would be incentive, right? Because if you don't gobble them all up in one go, they will go bad and they don't last. Can you remember old times, and I do remember this, that we had vegetable racks and the food lasted fricking ages on a vegetable rack? Now, it doesn't last. Why? What's changed?
It's old already, stored somewhere.
So if it's been stored for a long amount of time and then the shops sell it, then is there not any trickery with the light? That you use a certain type of light that stops the growth, and then as soon as it's exposed to sunlight or you take it home and you don't have the same light as the shops, will it cause the food to spoil faster? What light grows mold? That's an interesting question, isn't it? So I've noticed that blue hints on windows, the blue tint on windows, starts promoting bacteria, black mold, which you've seen it here, yes? As soon as you wipe it away, it appears again. But I think that's because of a leak that perhaps you trust in the fact that someone has already sorted it because they had decorators doing decorating jobs, and then you find out that it hasn't been dealt with. So could it be this issue? But why does it cling to the window? And you might argue that it's sweaty and steamy, but then why not on an area near a cooker? What's the difference? And blue light, does it trigger off mold growth? It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is.
So what if shops, number one, what do they want to do?
Sell as much as they can.
Sell as much as they can. That's understatement. No, they want to make money. When the world starts favoring profit and greed before you. And another fascinating thing in here is that people on lower incomes would be more likely to buy cheaper foods that have shit in it. And people who are better off will buy the more expensive and therefore eat better food. Now, why is that? Where's the equality law in that? And then has it become more disastrous by having big supermarkets than opposed to ones that were in communities? Smaller shops, local, smaller shops. I'm not on about the smaller shops that we've got now that promise that they're going to make better prices, and none of them can do better prices. And then you shop to another shop that brings the food in from foreign lands, and it's more cheaper than your average shops. That's an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all because of greed, isn't it? Greed. Greed, greed, greed. Increase the rent prices, therefore less, and then therefore less to have, and then therefore increase the bills, therefore less to have. And then people are favouring, basically, food that is not good for you because it's all they can afford. Tell me, what's that about? And then why is something that is cheaper got more ingredients in it than something that's expensive? This is beyond logic. If I was building something and I put in a load of materials, that's like saying that the stuff that was made from wood chip would be more expensive than natural wood. Doesn't make any sense. But then I could argue that I've put loads more resources into this. Why is that more cheaper then when it comes to shops? And then who's vetting this? And another thing that companies do that is very interesting, they say, we don't put any E numbers or preservatives. But when you contact them and you find out all of this information, where are your ingredients? There's this, and this. Okay, where'd you get those from? This company. And they give you that number. And you call up that company, they say, oh yeah, all of our stuff that we sell like that, if you want to buy some, it does contain E numbers, preservatives and everything else. And then I'm like, wait, what? This company that uses your ingredients claim that we don't put any additives, preservatives, colorants in it. And they can legally say that because they bought it pre-packaged off of somebody else who do put it in. Do you think that should be acceptable? Do you think that should be illegal?
No, it's not acceptable.
And then what do we have in this situation then? And then we've got agriculture chemicals, add fertilizer to soil to supply nutrients for crops to grow. Chemicals that control pests. And there again, I know that genetically modified plants, they are resilient to the chemicals that you put on. It just means that they can still absorb this, but they won't die as a result of it. You're going to eat that. You're going to wash it, and you're going to think that because you've washed it, that you've removed it, when you haven't.
Only some
Because it's absorbed.
Only from the surface,
Wouldn't it be great? Well, we'll take that as an injection, shall we? We can rub all these shitty chemicals on us and they won't do anything to us. That's wrong. That's very wrong. And it says it pollutes rivers, and some think that they have a harmful effect on human health too. Think. You don't know this. Years and years worth of data and everything else and following all of this, and you think. Give children this and you watch it change their behavior. Why does it change their behavior, I wonder? Organic food is grown naturally without using artificial fertilizers and pesticides. But that makes it more expensive to produce. So already you're now controlling them, because how many people are rich? How many people do you think are rich in society? Not many, right? Small amount, yes?
2%.
And how many people are poor?
The rest.
On low incomes?
On low incomes, maybe 80. I don't know. The rest might be sort of.
So if we produce organic food that is grown naturally without using artificial fertilizers and pesticides, this makes it more expensive to produce. Why? Less has gone in it. If this was a fucking Heinz can compared to a cheap everyday brand.
Less grows though, because they do not support it with their artificial nonsense. So, and it might be smaller.
Farmers add organic matter like manure. Could you imagine what nature did without all life forms on the planet?
That's not organic manure. How do they make sure that it's from it's from the animals that didn't have any chemicals put in them.
And then crop rotation, yes?
Yeah.
Growing different crops and leaving land basically with nothing to grow on it, fallow. I think that's what it says there. Are used to make the soil is fertile every year. Some farmers may use alternate methods to control pests. Things like include natural pesticides, ladybirds to eat aphids, biological pesticides, e.g. for certain fungi. That's an interesting thing. Spraying crops with hot water. That's a new one for me. Now factor this in. When I used to grow foods, you're not allowed to do it now, apparently. According to social housing, you're not allowed to grow your own food. That's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another business supporting a business. Apparently, you're not allowed to do it. You have to ask permission. And it won't be reasonably or unreasonably withheld. Sure, that sounds like a bag of bullshit that I will dive into on another day. And do you often think that some people in society just love control? They just love people worshipping them.
Yeah, they do.
And then they need more call centres and different things like that in order for people to ask stupid questions, to get a stupid answer, if they answer at all.
Yeah.
Are you difficult? Are you not? And they can weaponize it. Why does this not go for a middleman, but everything else does? Never mind that. So we're looking at all of this stuff, and then it states on here that people are worried about food for miles, that the food travels everywhere. I mean, this... You mean to tell me that somewhere along the line, I don't know who it was, but government, you support this. You support all of this bullshit in a book. And we're not allowed to whinge about nothing. But this is whinging. And some of this, look, they've put all of the food in a circus. That's pretty much it. And what is this? Is this because you want to teach kids how to become better in society, or you want to put it plain in sight so that they ignore it? So let's just do the math real quickly. So are people going to choose organically grown food when it's more expensive, knowing that loads, the masses, can barely afford shite?
Yeah.
So are you going to produce organic food?
No.
No?
You're not gonna
What kind of a
choose
system is this? Now let's do something else, shall we? This is called summer, yes?
Yeah.
This one's called rest. This one's called summer. This one's called rest. What am I doing? What am I making already? Can you guess it? Summer, rest. This is one building.
Yeah.
One building. Built with glass, let's say.
Yeah.
Nice big building built with glass. You know, all of the things, but we won't tamper around with the windows. Of course we won't. No gel film over it. Just standard sand. Sand. How cheap is sand? Come on. I'm going to offer you a diamond or a bag of sand. Which one do you think is going to be more expensive? The diamond or the sand? How cheap is sand? It's everywhere, yes? You can't make something, a glass freaking igloo. You can't build it with a vacuum around it. Nope, because that won't work, will it? Because we'll see the air. Bullshit. And you can't make, in any way, shape or form, something that gives you summer every single season. Throughout the year, 365 days a year, it's summer. That's impossible to build, is it?
I don't think it's impossible.
So why has it not been built? Why is it in a book saying that, oh dear, you know, we have to buy all of this food from really far away? What happens if we took someone from Jerusalem, and I don't know how to pronounce someone, Israelite? I'm just going to put Israelites. You took someone from France, I'm just going to use FR. Because we're a multicultural nation, yes? So you took one person from each nation.
Okay.
everybody from each nation that has different ways of eating, which I think people may prefer to buy British or local produce or foods that are in season in order to support local economy and reduce the food for miles, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thing. People want to buy it British. How about now, ladies and gentlemen? How about now, since we left the EU, you still want to pay British prices for it? How is it that a leg of lamb can travel all the way from Australia to Britain and it costs a fiver?
Yeah.
But from Britain, from British farmers, it costs quadruple the amount, like we're paying for diamonds.
Who knows? Maybe it has diamonds in it.
That's very... I agree with seasonal foods, I really do. Our bodies over evolution are designed to take seasonal foods.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
That's something that we'll have to settle with. Animal welfare is a concern for many people. People choose to eat foods where they know the animals have been treated ethically, such as free-range products. Or they may avoid meat altogether, e.g. vegetarian and vegans. That's an interesting thing. We do understand that nature is life form as well, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where was it? There's something in here. You're going to give me a little bit more, some details in here. I just find this very... Hinduism, Islam, Judaism. Not sure what that is. Is that Jewish community?
Yeah, Judaism.
Okay, all right. There was something a little bit more in here about that. Because it asks you questions of what type of food do individuals of these backgrounds, what sort of food do they eat?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question that's asked, yes? Yeah. Which then is very eye-opening to what type of multicultural nation do we live in then? Mm-hmm. And it gives you the view that cows are sacred in one, kosher food. And some people don't eat pork.
Mm-hmm. But we'll eat cows. Yeah.
We'll eat cows, and then therefore, so you get a multi-dynamic biome, I'd call this.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't think I need to look at this anymore because I think it's right up what I'm thinking. So when creating the Darwinist sphere, yes, we put bees in it and everything else. Okay. So let's say you take someone from all of these countries. Where else was it? Hinduism?
Yeah.
What country is that?
It's India and maybe Pakistan. I don't know.
I'm not sure how to spell all of this. Let's say we took one person from every part of the globe. Mm. One person, just one person. You don't need to be particularly educated in anything. You come to a landmass somewhere, like Britain, France, Germany, doesn't matter. But it starts from somewhere. Each one has a local understanding of their cult, their food, and the way that it needs to be prepared, yes?
Yeah. That
gets split into a compass that is going to grow inside here. None of it's going to spill over. Mm-hmm. Now, this is one way to do it, that everyone that puts into this, that comes in together, from manufacturers to building this to making this the place to be, exist, grow, live, and work in, with quite the environment. All of the food will be built, let's say if we pick a landmass, let's say we go with good old sunny Britain.
Yeah.
Okay, this thing is going to defy floods. Mm-hmm. If the landmass floods, it doesn't matter, this thing will keep going. It'll keep smiling at it. So it needs a backup power and everything else. We got to understand wind. Mm-hmm. And we're going to understand droughts. Mm-hmm. OUGHTS, I think. Anyway. It's going to run off of these principles, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing artificial goes in there apart from the artificial structure itself, which sounds very strange to say it, right? So everyone's quite worried about preservatives, E-numbers, genetically modified, all of this weird and wonderful stuff. Oh, what about bees? You need bees, don't you? Yeah. Of course we need bees. People love bees. Honey as well. I wonder what their honey tastes like in an environment like this, enclosed off. All of these people come to a particular location. You're going to come together with a load of builders, yes? Mm-hmm. and all come here and build this. Once you've built it, with all of that knowledge that you've seen, understood, took it by step, and then what happens if all of these people here in this group, here, the builders and everything starts to go very nice, very well. It's going to have its problems, it's going to teethe, but we can deal with that. You've got to make a start somewhere with this. Got to make a start somewhere with it. And whether that has a nuclear power station inside it or not, doesn't really matter, really, does it? These things are fucking dangerous as it is anyway, but let's just say that it's fed with power, drought-proof, wind-proof, flood-proof, everything-proof, because that's one thing that we worry about with crops, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is going to bounce per month from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, until we get 12 months of summer in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
How much food is that going to produce? Now, you don't want to make too much because you don't want to waste, because waste also feeds life form database, because if it goes in the ground somewhere and rots away, that's never good either, is it? Not only are you going to be able to feed animals, so you can keep your meat going, that's very cheap meat. No food for miles, yes? Sorry, I did that completely wrong. So he's going to grow the meat as well. Lovely, wonderful. So you're going to get 12 months and a year's worth of food. And it starts off very small, this project, but it will begin to ripple out. Before you've built that, you've built another one. And at the same time, then you're going to need apprentices to watch you build the second one.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to watch, and what's going to happen is they're going to travel to Israel.
Yeah.
Let's say, Jerusalem, and so forth and so on. These ones are going to go back to France with that. These ones will go back to here. These ones will go back to here. They were going to build the exact same thing, but fill it with a little bit more food. Of their type of food, let's say. I don't know how to say that without it sounding racist or whatever, but your culture, your type of food. It's the way it is. And before you know it, you've now got one growing over here. This one's being built here. Another one's being built here. Another one's being built here. By that time, you want a version 2. Whatever you've built, can we stack something else on top of it? And with using part the sun, the light to hit it and go through chambers. Do you honestly think that you can get light to shimmy through different chambers and make a light beam across by moving the light? You've seen that when we move and trick the light to fall down chambers. And have
Sky windows.
A little bit more advanced than that. And you need to have a bit more intensity in certain areas. So therefore you need to dim it out in the start. Because if you're using a magnifying glass, one of the most simplest things that are abundant in the universe. Wonderful, really, isn't it? And if you use this as a way to amplify the light into the chamber, the first part of it will be more intense. So you blitz it out just a little bit, but you want it to go a very long way. How many of these can you stack up before the light really begins to dwindle out? Can it be supported with solar panels is another question. Can it be powered by a nuclear power station? My word, I don't like those, but a self-fulfilling prophecy somewhere along the lines. And before you know it, around the world, everybody is beginning to build these. That's a very interesting thing, don't you think?
Yeah.
French like snails, don't they?
Yeah.
It is France, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, they eat
France
those as well.
eats snails.
Yeah.
Snails are very good at eating algae, though, aren't they? You notice that?
Yeah.
These things might be able to pick up with algae. But the water, the temperature, the increase in pressure, plants like different pressures, different climates. You think that you won't be able to grow oranges in an environment like this. Now, that's going to cause a problem, which it is, isn't it? Who's going to be able to trade anything? What type of shops do you start to create in this as well? New shops.
Yeah.
How many people can you feed? We've been living in a technologically advanced civilization for how long? And not one thing has been done to secure the food. We're all one disaster away. Can you get these to float on ships? That's another thing. Can you build these out of ships? As opposed to moving goods, each container is made out of glass. It's fully sealed up. Sure, if it sinks, it's going to be a problem. When water gets in, that will be a problem. But what happens if you could seal it? Utilizing valves. Do you need people inside it? Not really. Can you make it run with robotics inside it? That's another question entirely. There's a lot of coastlines, and especially a nation such as yours.
Yeah.
You have a very diverse food supply, isn't it? And it's very difficult for you to get certain foods, is that correct?
Which one?
You said that lamb's not much of a thing.
Yeah, people do not have
Certain foods are just
sheep.
not.
Yeah. Some foods are not traditional, so they are not really. They could be, but they are not there.
How much of local shops, local opportunities does this do? How many people do we have that are retired that have an archive of knowledge of getting crops to grow in the abundance without ever using any single... I never used any type of crap or any manure, except for dog piss. One dog kept pissing over a certain amount of potatoes. Actually, those were pretty big, but still, I don't think that was because of him pissing all over it, to be honest. I think it was more so because of the way the shed roof pointed down.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't use any of this.
Yeah.
And then there's the land that there again starts to get rhizomania if you grow on it too much. So therefore it shows you that is the nutrients about the land. And when we understand it, that this soil is a byproduct. So where were the plants getting their nutrients from before? If we have to rub nothing but shit all over the fields, which then starts to backlog the rivers. We still keep living in Ice Age lifestyle, don't we? Don't you think it's because of that?
Yeah.
How many people can do this? And what's amazing with this, that when people in Israel start to make their particular biome, this one's going to be more centered around British. The first one can be multicultural because we are multicultural, America and anywhere else, right? What happens when Israel makes one centered around their types of foods and cuisine? What happens if they bring one of these here? Well, you now have a new food system in growing in your country with the right pressure, the right heat, the right crop, the right this, tweaking it just right. Africa and Spain produce oranges, right?
Yeah.
Well, who knows how to grow oranges better than people from these nations anyway that have been around them, that know when they wilt? Do you think English people would be able to know when a fucking orange tree needs sorting? What the fucking hell's wrong with it? I think I trust the people that have been around these trees for a very long time.
Yeah.
Here, we'll trade you some of our British biome for some of your tropical stuff. Oh, okay then. China, they understand some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
They got sort of a wide variety of food. We'll trade you a British one. I don't know if we want it. But potatoes, they're a tricky thing to grow.
Rice.
Rice.
Yeah.
It's no longer food for miles, is it?
Yeah.
And then people would be worried about trade, yes?
Yeah.
So then what happens if we save a place for China to build one here? And then they make a shop on the side of it?
Yeah.
Does that not put the money back, which is far lighter than the food itself having to travel if we have to buy it from them?
Yeah.
They bring the biome stays. They operate that particular biome, and you still tick into trade box, don't you? And likewise, if there's one of a British cuisine, you put your cuisine there, get the environment all sorted. It's British run, perhaps. All of these things begin to start trading, and what you are doing is becoming space ready, and you are making summer all the way around. How much more can you expand in numbers? Also, you are taking CO2 and you are converting it into O2. Are you not?
Yeah. Carbon is used by the plants. Yeah.
So we're killing another bird with a stone, 2 vampires, 1 steak. We're also reducing the carbon ratio in the depths of winter. Do you know the only people that actually do this? Do you know who it is?
Who?
Criminals.
Okay.
Marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tropical plant, and people grow it here. That's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Do you find that fascinating?
Mm-hmm.
These are the only ones that ever took that for a criminal activity. And they've created biomes from it, mini biomes, which aren't name and shame. I know a few people that do this, or did this. And it's impressive. It's freaking impressive.
They became gardeners, didn't they?
Well, they are growing seeds all year round.
Yeah.
Some from young, some make factories like this. This is an interesting thing. That some from seed to germination to then growth, then from rapid growth to flowering. And it is a self-fulfilling prophecy in its own right. And we've been confiscating this repeatedly off of people because it's criminal, it's this, it's that, it's mud. And you've been pulling all of this stuff in police stations should be fucking really adept at it. You've got all of this equipment, and what have you been doing with it? Let's keep complaining about the lack of food because it won't grow in the winter because damn this planet. And then it's all in books for children to learn and then have something to fear about. And nothing quite like get over your fear, really, is it? And then it becomes somebody else's problem and then it reminds you of school. And that was a pain in the fucking ass. And you're moving forward and you're trying to get away from all of that. Oh, do you ever see that when you talk to people about going back to school? No fucking way. And they distance themselves away from all of that education. I've found that fascinating. There's only a few variables that actually thrive in that environment. Most other people can't wait to get through it. And then we plod along in these other companies that are taking a lot and creating a lot of this. And mold. Mold, that's a very interesting thing, that is. Fascinating. All life forms grow a database.
Yeah.
Life supports life. And when we start to understand that, even from the small to the large to the current, if it could wipe you out and use you as a food source, it will.
Yeah.
We have no qualms about it.
Because you support a different life as well, yeah, if you die, yeah.
And I think that we should become aware of that. If we go to space, we will become aware of that. Stick it on another planet somewhere else. Give it enough time. Will it not evolve? Could funguses be the next best thing on the planet? Planet full of fungus? Do you think they want to dominate it? All life forms want to dominate it, don't they? They want to be the ones that dominate the most.
Yeah. Yes,
And that seems to have stopped because human belief. This promotes more jobs than you'll ever see in your lifetime. Jobs, better food. Put it underwater, put it under the sea. It doesn't matter. Jobs. It still keeps with trade. Trade is often the problem. Because, what are we going to send to one another? Wouldn't it be better if you didn't send any food at all? Because as soon as you've picked it, what about taking it from the plant and selling it? Immediately. Or have the customers pick it with a robot type fucking jukeboxy arcade grab machine goes in and takes that off and drops it and dispenses it to you. I mean, that's a whole different thing altogether, really, isn't it? The kids would love to do that. How fresh is that? Straight from the tree. How long will it last for? Would you need a fridge?
No.
If it's that fresh, would you need a fridge? That's a question I got.
Yeah. Cellar would be good enough.
And what are we telling those seeds in there when it's that cold? Are we telling it that the environment's very cold? Or have we taken those and put them into a food bank? Have we told it that there's perhaps colder temperatures than there actually are? What are we teaching it? You might as well shut down. Got to be careful with that sort of stuff because, again, that's information, that's data being put in, and then we freeze it. Sure, strawberries, perhaps, maybe. This is interesting. When you get them from certain places, they just seem to be indestructible, and then what it is because they've clept them cut them, put them in,
Mm.
and they seem to last for ages. You're buying it almost, oh my days, and can you taste the difference?
Yeah, sometimes you can collect them yourself. Strawberries is the
Have you
only
tasted
thing.
that difference?
Yeah, yeah, I have. When my sister went and when I saw her the next day. Yeah.
So we bought some recently.
Mm.
The difference.
Yeah. Yeah. From farmers.
I've never tasted them that good before in my life. Now, I was trying to think, is it because it's mental and you just think it? But it wasn't. No. I could blindfold test myself on that. And the stuff I got from the shop, water.
And I had
Water and very bland. How does you make a strawberry taste so bland?
I don't know. I had a patch when I was a kid also.
Yeah.
So you would go there and you would pick them from the and
Is homegrown the best? And is it homegrown? Because most of these say that it come from the country here, but why does it taste so different? Why does it taste bad? Plain. If I was a child, which one would I eat?
it's like full of
I wouldn't eat this
water.
one. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is what it is. Yeah, it tastes like it is full of water, watered down.
Yeah, and tomatoes as well taste like water. And then
What is this? And then just by taste testing, do you think people will gravitate towards this? Do you think this becomes the next greatest idea that you've ever seen? Making it happen, it can happen. It will happen. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. You want to make it so that the heat doesn't escape, and you only need it to escape when you want it to escape. Which then helps us to build better houses. It gets it space ready. Trade, no longer send it. Fuel is precious. It's not finite. Is it finite? No, it's not finite. All of this stuff is precious. And therefore we free up a bit more fuel. And then how much more on the price is that going to be? And rather than it being the rich, poor, poor, rich, there is no us and you. I don't know about that. Mushy peas, they put tartrazine in it in order to change the colour of it because people wouldn't eat it if it was brown.
Yeah.
Have you seen how many people lick plates with gravy on it? That's pretty brown, ain't it? That don't look advertisingly pleasing, does it? Do you think we just become so fussy? And then factor this in that food tastes very bad from a supermarket, but it's come from Britain and it's, I don't know.
yeah, it doesn't go any far distance, does it?
And then the
And
kids are
still
sort of
it's
like, And then they give them something else, and then they're like, oh, wow, they eat all of those. And the way it feels inside you as well. Eating those punnet strawberries. Oh, my days. I was clutching my stomach. I'd stuffed my face with so many of those, but they were so good, so tasty. Oh, what's wrong with this? I thought you were great on quality, great on product, great on price. And then these prices have got ridiculous. It's getting more and more expensive. And here, it seems that we leave something and it becomes a point of greed. This is greed incentive.
Is it where they also grow the kinds of fruit and vegetables that grow bigger rather than tastier?
Yes.
Because they
It has to look a certain way.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's another thing as well, right?
because they pick the specific kinds of them or grow them themselves. They do the, how do you call it, when you do the crossing of two different
Genetics, isn't it?
modify.
Splicing,
Yeah,
modifying,
they
either or.
modify them for the size and look, but not for the taste, do they? Quite often is that case. Yeah. Then you go and buy apples and they are like, ew.
It just tastes so bad.
Yeah, remember the pink ladies, the apples we bought from the farmers? And then fed them to the geese as well. But I had one and you tasted when you were biting them off. They were tasty, weren't
Yeah, I'm not saying that all farmers
Yeah.
do this,
they?
but
No, but
most.
yeah, but
And these ones don't get into supermarkets,
yeah,
probably because
exactly.
they won't abide by these rules.
exactly.
Because they're all about how much can you give me?
Yeah,
Well, I don't want like only a few. I need loads.
yeah.
And then we will start to see the increase in obesity. And then, you know, I watch children when they're eating off of a plant. They're not looking at whether it looks good or not. They're shoveling it in their face. It's great to see it actually, and
Once it's
certain
tasty,
foods, certain berries.
unless it's repulsive because it's rotten or something, it's fine. It doesn't have to be perfectly round or straight or bent or whatever the shape is.
Because we've got food where we hold rulers up.
Yeah.
And then incentivizing all of this, you know, if the food don't look good on the plate, I ain't gonna eat it. Well, if you shit that out the same way, then I think the food matters the way it looks. Yeah, if it, I just think that we favour this look, this appeal, the right plastic, the right this. And then we get tricked because it's got to taste like this. It's got to taste like that. We will put something in it to make it taste more tastier, but your fruit that grows fucking naturally, you can't really go wrong with it, and it tastes worse. Soon you're going to have to start adding in those same chemicals that made those sweets taste really good. But it weren't no good for you. And I think that becomes the old way of doing things. And then it's very much greed. If you have enough food like this, what happens? The price
goes down, yeah.
And then how many people are eating it? How much is being saved? Because how many people have fridges and freezers in their house? If you had a lot of these dotted around that was guaranteed to give you food all year round at the freshest you can get it, the most juiciest. Because again, if it tastes like water, what are you doing with that? How do we know that's going to be any good? How do we know we're getting nutritional value for that? How do we know that you're playing around with it is better than what nature knew how to evolve naturally? How do we know that that's good? We know how that went with chemicals and E-numbers, don't we? It altered kids' behaviour. If something is doing that, is it good? But it didn't do it to these ones over here. That you can see. What else is it doing behind the scenes? I mean, you can't exactly put a little fucking tag on that food, can you? Follow all of its little nutrition through the body, can you? Can't tag it like you do a swan. Oh, let's track it. And then before we know it, multiple generations later, we'll look back and think, whoops, oh, we made a big mistake. Too late. And then we play chemical on top of a chemical on top of a chemical to counteract the chemicals, which then counteract the chemical. We pollute the river. Wouldn't that be a strange thing if these pick up, recycle everything inside the biome as best as possible, which it's going to have teething problems in the beginning. But, you know, at least let's fire and we'll adjust that as we go. Until you make it fully self-fulfilling prophecy. Wouldn't it be nice if the rivers started filling back up with fish? So much so that you don't need to go out to sea anymore. Take the burden, take a load off the sea. Responsible fishing. And then you don't need loads of it. You don't need a stockpile. And then what happens if you don't have fridges? Because of this, it's so fresh. Do you think there will be a difference?
Yes, I do.
And then that's saving fuel, isn't it? To ship it. Does this balance greed?
Excuse me. Yeah.
And then it puts competition. And then you really got your work cut out, doesn't it? And then does this make local shops around this?
Yeah. Yeah, you can have local shops. Yeah.
Could you imagine that? Every month is a summer inside the biome. Wouldn't that be a nice place to go and be around to watch that grow? We'd put a fucking library in it somewhere, wouldn't you? Not actually in with the food, no, but perhaps if it's glass and you can see through it, that'd look very good.
Yeah, you have different season for something is in autumn, something spring. But there is always summer, isn't there?
Yes, the summer. The only reason why I draw these like stars is because they would look like stars from above when looking down. If you could see through them, you'd see the light.
Like clock moving.
And then despite a drought,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter because you got these. A flood, it's okay, these, it's safe, less to worry about. What can you get on with more so in that aspect? And then can you start to build better houses? Because, you know, when doing things like this on these new adventures, endeavors, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
do you think that you can learn some things to put into houses?
Yeah.
You know, people might throw stones. Oh, come on. Oh yeah, we better get rid of all the greenhouses because of the glass and everyone's throwing stones, you know. And then it's this again with these corporations that work with other corporations, and then you got to ask yourself, who the fuck is leading this stuff? You can't grow anything at home. Why not? Because you're not allowed the decent food. Come on. What else is it? You have to ask why.
It's funny.
Why do you have to ask?
Even in medieval times, if people had a little patch in a rented house, they would do that.
But why? Because
Yeah.
it was lasting longer? I remember it when we used to grow it. We could put these in a cupboard.
Mhm.
We had more potatoes than you knew what to do with. Man, we could give these away as well.
Yeah.
Again, is that bad for profit, is it?
Mm.
And unfortunately, it seems to be something that's less these days, isn't it?
Yeah, and the fruits.
And people used to trade with one another over a fence with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I grew some of these. Do you want some?
Yeah, my great uncle would swap with the neighboring people who had gardens next to him for something different. Yeah,
Runner beans like I've never seen
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, mate.
yeah, apples for
Did you grow
pears
these? I
and-
did.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit. Some of these in here are huge. I've never seen anything so big in my life. That's a talent.
Yeah.
And they might be retired.
Hmm.
This gives opportunity if they want to get out and about.
Yeah,
Save you sitting in a care home. Did you want to come and grow some stuff?
yeah, and then they have food as well because they have some for themselves. Whatever they grow, yeah, something.
Sure, wheat is quite something. It's special, but it causes a hell of a lot of indigestion for people. Most people will not eat the food because it's all laced with wheat.
But
Go
there,
run through that cornfield. Oh, I'm a bit itchy. Probably wouldn't eat it then.
but there are different seeds that can make flour, but they are considered alternative because no one wants to grow them in big. But if people had their own patches, they would grow there or small.
You've seen tribes, haven't you?
Yeah.
They're not. They use complete different structure, and they seem to be able to sustain life on it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Go crush it against a few rocks.
Mm.
I mean, wouldn't that be a little bit? And this stuff is hardy.
Mm.
This stuff is naturally hardy.
Yeah. Some rooty stuff they eat.
Pendulous
don't they?
sedge, that stuff is
Yeah, yeah.
incredible because of the type of water that it can
Huh?
drink.
Yeah.
You see, I would have birch trees inside these things as well, which then can we start purifying water? They have a nice environment to live in an optimal operating. Are they producing oxygen? Can we keep them open all year round? Can we tap into them, not overdo it, but seasonal? We don't get enough of that. We used to. With that birch trees here, you notice that they're all pinned up.
Yeah.
They're either cut down everywhere or they're all in outside a library or a police station or here. You can never go and tap them.
Yeah.
It's almost nigh on impossible to do so, right? You always got to ask someone's permission. In these places, I think the permission then is automatic then. And then if you're sweating this stuff, you see, that's the trouble with plants, that we can't do it. Anglian water most certainly can't do it. We got a lot of this bad shit in water. Our ancestors were drinking it from trees, selective trees. And what it was doing by them drinking that was purifying. You can put this, so in certain places, I won't drink from the area because it's too full of, you can already see it, it's bad, you can smell it. Sometimes it's got dead animals in it, so therefore it's fouled water. But all of the trees around, now can I tap this? Why, yes I can. How long will it take? Can I bag it? Yes, I can. Can I sweat it? Why, yes, I can. It can drink that stuff because it filters it. A natural filtration system, which is fascinating. That can have the stuff that we can't drink. Which one would you rather drink? And then I was thinking about putting birch in something like this. So each time it's a springtime for it. And then can we tap into a drink supply of that, which you can. When you understand that you have a lot of birch around, the first thing that our ancestors were doing was carving into wood. Not to make canoes, they came accidentally. They were making troughs to bleed these trees into because they could hold the water longer. You would think like oak barrels, or perhaps they're your first modern oak.
Yeah.
When times got a little bit drier because it got hotter. And you couldn't always drink from the supplies as much as we like to think that you can. Not really. They were probably drinking from trees. There were more of them. There isn't so many these days.
Yeah.
And then they were getting a double dose of nutrients. So the stuff is incredibly healthy. It's been packed full of vitamins. You ain't got to add anything to it. You don't need to add any mineral content to it. It's very gentle. Boil it away and you don't get the grit around the side. That's an interesting thing. You get a syrup. It can go sweet. You can do a lot with it. A hell of a lot with it. It isn't just birch that you can do this with. There's multiple trees that can do this. That's interesting. I think Canada do this, don't they, with maple?
Yeah. Maple syrup is the staple of Canada, isn't it?
Could you imagine having enough trees to fill up a vat full of water that's only for drinking? This stuff is like gold dust, right? It's got to beat the shit that you get from anywhere else. And the other stuff is susceptible. It needs a lot of chemical. It needs to keep clean. There's a lot of build-up of this. Is it worth it? Sure, it might be good for washing in. Drinking? I don't know. Build up of these nutrients. What does it do to the body?
Yeah.
Think I found where your vitamin C came from. Now we don't get enough of it. That's an interesting thing. So it becomes a spring tonic, that particular one. There are others that you can do this with. Even vegetation itself can do it. You just got to know the process. You got to make it sweat. You know, in seeking out water on Mars, you needed pressure. Or if you build glass structures around it, the thing is made of sand anyway, and you can get the trees in the right pressure, they should root down. They should find this, the moisture, and then begin to extract it. It begins to sweat. This then drips down the sides and you collect it in a tray. And then once it fills up after a few hours, vent it out. Take it out. Pressurize it, depressurize it, whatever you need to do. A purification process. And then at what level in their toxicity can they drink to purify? That's interesting. Because if we don't get a lid on that. And then the more pure stuff you're drinking, are you going to waste less? What does your waste turn into? What happens if you make fizzy drinks with this stuff? You want a natural sweetener, syrup some down, and use this as the water itself. Do you make a fizzy drink more healthy, naturally healthy, as opposed to chemically? Then you add all your other shit into it. Caffeine is naturally found in a lot of things.
Yeah, it is.
So what does that look like going forwards? Hell, I wouldn't stop here if I understand that in Jerusalem, I think it's Jerusalem, they have those burning bushes, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. These release a vapor. What can you do with that? Well, if you've got the facility to do it, what can you do with this stuff? What does it do? What if you collect it? What happens? Interesting. Sweating salt water. You can remove salt from salt water. That's interesting. In this particular process, purification. Desalting the ocean? I often wonder that. What happens if you remove the salt from the ocean?
Who knows?
Well, do you think it's possible? Perhaps it's not remedy for here, but if you go to Europa, what happens if you transferred that and transformed it into fresh water? It's interesting, isn't it? We do the reverse each winter, don't we? When we put salt on the roads and it washes into the rivers. We're salting up the... Fish can only cope with that for so much, and then they start to struggle with it. And then the types of organisms that they become immune to it because they learn on the database with this salt. Because it becomes too much and then it fluctuates and we're not given the right amount. And these, that certain fish get diseases. And you can use a salt bath to remove it. A bit like some sharks come into fresh water to kill off the parasites, and some from fresh water will go into saltier areas and then come back to remove the parasites for the same reason. But it's a fine process. If you don't get it right, you don't do it for long enough. It's like taking antibiotics intermittently for no reason. You get resistance. And with that destroys your fish very quickly. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then how much did we alter the lands utilizing these processes? I think if you cut down all of the trees, you'll start to run into a problem where your water stops becoming too pure. The sun sweats it from here. Are you sure it's those that are doing it? And it isn't the trees drawing it? That would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? To find that out.
Yeah.
Because it seems that the process might be more... And then when they're doing it in this sweating process, they're also releasing certain types of vitamins and minerals, and what depends on that? To us, it might seem trace amounts, but to something smaller, that's an abundant amount. And is it sustaining all of the small stuff? These are very important questions to ask, I think, in the whole process. What happens if you water crops with, basically, when you tap into the sap? We notice how well it supports bugs, right? And before you know it, these are becoming incredibly ferocious, and before you know it, they're living to the environment, they're living longer, they're causing more damage, and they're bringing down more trees. What happens if you left a tray of it out for them to get soaked in wood that was more easier to smell, sense, taste? Could you get the bugs to miss these particular trees and keeps the trees going? So they attract to this. You see, that's one thing. In an environment such as the Earth, it's going to change. Going to change. All of the life forms are updating their databases. Why? Because they all want to be the dominant life form. They want to evolve. And they're not really intelligent, not as you would think about it. Not really. Humans are. You're more intelligent than they are. They will devour things until it falls down, and they don't care. They don't know no different. Same with the process of a dog will eat and eat and eat until it dies, whether that's actually 100% true. A horse will run and run and run until it drops. You would say that that's not intelligent, wouldn't you? That's a level for you, isn't it? That's a little bit of understanding for you, but humans would then be like, Is it a test? And this gets you prepped for space, doesn't it? Because some things you can't just go and put this biome over it. No, you have to understand to extract the seeds. Why? Well, because if you put things outside and they're covered in spider mite or butterflies, I like the butterflies and the night butterflies, which are moths, and you bring it inside, you explode their numbers. So you have to start clean. Some things you can control the numbers on. Other things, no, and impossible. Which would be a disaster. And it's a careful case of knowing which one is what. Which then, if you can remove a lot of life forms and the biome stays operating, then I would look at these other little critters that do the most damage and say, these are new. These came later. These life forms sustained life and they seem to work and be very beneficial for this. These ones came later. And then we start to see an increase in these, don't we? These types of bugs that do even more damage. And they're getting faster at it. Gee me, their deforestation is more quicker than humans. Or is it because we've shrunk the forests? And it just looks this way. And again, that's a careful balance as well, isn't it? And some of these things are hard to get rid of. Nigh on impossible. Well, maybe it is possible, but we haven't figured it out. And therefore, you damaged the plant by trying to apply these processes to it. Yes, you can paint the bark. It's only going to get you so far. They'll evolve to become immune to that. They'll know that tactic. And then what's too much paint on the bark? That's an interesting process right there. Anyway, but still, what do you think to this? It also looks like a flower as well when you draw it like this, which is fascinating.
Yes, it is.
So this does create a lot of jobs, a lot of good careers. It does end a few, don't get me wrong, or it transforms a few. It helps with trade. In fact, this brings more people to the... There's a problem with the soil. Soil is a waste product of nature. That's interesting, isn't it? Isn't that very interesting? Most people think that the earth was covered in soil and plants came down and they were seeded into the soil. No, those little fuckers have made the soil. Not because they want to, but because they have to in order to rise the landmass. Slowly but surely, they're rising the landmass. It's a fascinating thing to watch it. You can put this into a supercomputer and see it yourself. Over eons and eons, you begin to rise the landmass very quickly. You run into problems because where's too much, where's too little. And then this reflects back on climate. Certain types of climate will lose the leaves, and certain types, they don't. They hold on to them. So, isn't it? It's a strange thing that they don't lose much. Nature knows when to drop its leaves and it knows when not to. Cactus. You ever seen that pattern? But the irony, it's on a very dry area. Come in! Sorry, I hear some sort of knocking. I was taking a piss. And then this is food security. Because there was something else I read in the book, food security. Well, creates interesting jobs, good amount of food. You beat the winter blues. Eliminates shipping. It can pose some problems. So soil. Hydroponic. They actually grow better in hydroponic. You get bigger yields. You don't need much chemical base in that. And they will also grow off of liquids, which you would say is fertilizer. It all depends on what we're looking at as fertilizer. Natural fertilizer. And therefore less waste. They can hold on to things. And I wonder what happens if you keep a plant past its season, which I have done. And that's an interesting thing. They don't die off. At first glance, they look like they die off. They just sort of have a respite. And then they start triggering off again. It almost tries to do it, but then the conditions fluctuate. So that wasn't a fair science, to be honest. So some of these biomes, once you've got enough of them, what happens if we keep something? Will it evolve? Do you think a tomato plant can evolve? So that rather than when it's finished the crop, we assume that it dies down. Is it dying down, or is it because it's end of season? And then do we transform this into a more sustainable plant? An all era. And again, if you had the facility to do so, would you experiment with that? And then how would it evolve? Do you think the tomato plant starts becoming a little bit more so into this new type of season? It's going to need time to update its database. And if it's reading the environment like it does, and it knows that, hang on a minute, the summer's not ending. What does it do? How does it transform? Does it grow into a tree? Because That's another thing that's fascinating as well, isn't it? That certain types of all of the small stuff. Have you noticed the way they encode in their leaves what they will look like as trees? The pattern in their leaves is an indication of what they're trying to do. It's almost like they're trying to achieve this, but only when conditions favor it. If not, it becomes a waste of energy and it runs risk of going extinct, this, that, and the other. So, and then it will make you ask another question. How does it know? How does it know to evolve that way? That's another question, isn't it? So do you think when there's changes in climate, for whatever reason, ice age, hot age, and everything else, do you think this is when they utilize that to evolve?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Do you think that apple trees once were very small berries?
Don't know. Maybe.
And used to grow their berries, die off, shut down, drop their berries, the seeds ferment, rah-de-rah-de-rah, and then these ones grow next season. And then grow next season, and then grow next season. This gets interesting if there are any cannabis users out there. Could you imagine a cannabis tree? Well, you'd have fucking anarchy, that's what you would have. That was an interesting thing. That do you ever think that something so small will turn into a tree eventually if it has the favourable conditions? Because there's dual flowering. There's 2 lots of flowering, so I've heard among people. Hey, by and large, I don't care what you do. I'm interested in what you've seen. That's another thing. And some reports, some people state that there's dual flowers. That if they keep it going, it will reflower again after already flowering once they've stripped off the flower. That's fascinating. That already shows you that there's a level of evolving there. Why? Do you not keep these afterwards? No, cut them and start again. Okay. That's interesting. So there's a part of the puzzle piece missing. Oof. Don't even get me started with stinging nettles and brambles. Whew, I don't know if I could cope with you being a tree. What do you think they're evolving to? Do you think they always want to be a bush? Be trampled on? The suffering, the hard days of being trampled on by everything? Shutting down per season, just living a season, as opposed to seasonal. Do you think trees just developed to be trees? Or do you think they evolved from something small that struggled? Mighty amount of struggling. Could you imagine bamboo trees? Shit me, these would put redwoods to shame, wouldn't they? Where do you think it come from? Starts off small, or do you think trees have always been trees?
Some of them actually also started big and became small.
Yes, they have. They've gone both ways in that aspect,
Like the ones that are in Trolls Meadow, the small ones.
They look like pine, don't they?
Yeah, they were once big. So
and butterflies were once big.
Yeah, it was not favorable for them, so yeah.
Now,
so
is that
they can
loss of atmosphere or loss of pressure?
So
is that inflating of pressure? Put more pressure on them to grow smaller? Something changed. And do you think that all small life forms, being the bacteria and all of the building blocks, they started off small, right? We all started off small. And look at us. We're a collection of all this small shit. And we've grown pretty fucking big as a result of that. Start off as a tiny sperm. It also still keeps this in the... Always remembers where it comes from, doesn't it? It almost seems to follow this pattern of growth in this way. That's interesting, isn't it? And then if we evolved from monkeys. Okay, so where did monkeys come from? Well, dinosaur by any chance? Or were there furry fuckers around with the feathery ones? You fucking baldies. These cats say that to you, don't they? What happened to your fur? Did it fall off? Are you singed? yeah, I don't know. If cats could talk, they'd be insulting as hell. Even birds sort of do it. Featherless fuckers. And then we see this with some of the birds as well, don't we? That they're very small, and if you can watch life progress over ions and ions on a planet, I think you'd be shocked. Do you think it all came big? God came down and was like, right, fucking stick those trees over there. You put the dinosaurs over there. You go and put those other weird looking dinosaurs, the little ones, over there. You take the bacteria, move it over there. That's right. Come on. That's it. Keep going. Chop, chop, chop. 7 days. Let's move. Come on. You dig that up. You move this. You put that over there. You put these here. Or do you think it started off small and evolved into bigness? And do we think that stopped somehow? That we just stopped? That's it. Finished. No, it's still doing it. And things are still trying to bind with us today. And life is going to get more and more because the database that they're learning, and they want to clop onto you even more so. Some of the shit is trying to bind with you every single day. And the more and more that we stay on the planet, and this is all unchecked, it's learning you, you're learning it. That's the way it is. You can't have it one way, it's both ways. You can have it one way when it becomes your spaceship. And is this why space is so sterile? It only supports certain life forms. If we think about it in the right sort of capsule. Geode. Planet is technically a geode with an atmosphere, but still, either or. There's a big difference between what you were given and what you can create. And I think if you're alive long enough, see, that's the important thing about being able to live longer. You know, come here, you little clone. Come and tell me all of the things that you've seen. People want to be flies on a wall. I want to know what you've seen over your life. How old are you? Because I know you're a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone. Maybe 4 generations in a family somewhere. I'm the 5th. You went extinct a very long time ago. What do you know? You're the same plant carried over that many. That's interesting, isn't it? Can you believe that? That this is the same species of plant that's been replicating and replicating with no end in sight. Some say that cloning, when you start to clone, that it diminishes down. This is increasing. The speed is increasing. And there's a direction to it as well. No matter whether you rotate it.
Yeah.
And if you put another one of the clones in a pot, they're growing towards. They move. Yeah. Cloning also allows plants to move. You think how old that is? How many families, how many conversations, how many meals that's been around? It's defied logic. And it's still going. Still cloning, still pumping out more. It'd bankrupt me to put that in every single pot. I think it belongs in a garden somewhere that is going to be looked after inside a biome. I think that needs to go in one. It's a hell of an achievement. How long will that thing keep going for? That's the question. That's more than just a plant. That's a fucking legacy in itself. And that's survived, what, multiple generations of the same plant. But it's just cloning, 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 cloning. You can't give this shit away, I tell you. You give it away and then theirs are all cloning. Gee me. That's interesting, isn't it? That's fascinating. How old do you think that one particular species of plant is on its own to clone? That's fascinating.
Yeah, very long.
If it could talk.
Very long.
When extinction pushes it up against the... But how does it know it's extinct? That's another question. And I often wonder, does it know something that we haven't figured out? What happens if we could fast forward that cloning ratio in that direction? What's it trying to get to? It obviously wants something, doesn't it? Why that particular direction? What is it about that? Does it know something? I mean, by all accounts, you should have give up. Sad but true. So yeah, that's a fascinating, the amount of generations that's been around. I mean, that's impressive. What, 5 generations? It's heading on for its 6th, and that's only because the trail dwindles out. Because that's been kept in a particular family for X amount of time. That's understood. But before that,
you don't know.
You don't know because of where it come from there. That's quite the journey. That is. That's quite the. So interesting. And is it the same species from all the way back to the days that these were apparently extinct? Two questions for us. That's why I'm fascinated with certain plants. I need to defy logic, that cloning ratio, and therefore how long it's been alive for. What do you think it's seen? What changes?
Yeah.
Who's got the original?
Yeah.
Is it the original? That's the question. Is mind-boggling, isn't it? To think about that, and it's defied logic, but it came with humans looking after it.
Yeah.
If not, it wouldn't be here.
Mm.
Becomes more precious than any family crest that you can pass down, name. And that's the beautiful side of humanity. I like that. And look at its beautiful flowers and how many it's doing. It's getting more and more flowering, so that's bizarre. You'd think it'd give up flowering, wouldn't you? But it seems to be pumping up more.
Mm.
And the more you appreciate it, the more it does the following season, and then multiple times throughout the year. It doesn't shut down. It doesn't rest. By all accounts, that should shut down for winter. No, it grows just before summer, I believe. Because it's from a forest canopy. And it now no longer shuts down. The leaves it wastes, very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
And then another question that I've got, how much carbon and oxygen do you think that has transformed? How much water has that purified? So again, these questions are baffling, really. It's a beautiful side of humanity, that is, that many generations took the time to look after that, even when it was right pushed up against its life limits.
Mm.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, and do you think it could ever evolve to ever start replicating again?
What replicating?
Because usually it would create seeds, but it
Mhm.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's holding out, bettering the pollen ratio to be able to reignite back into the compatibility chain?
Yeah, probably.
Bit like humans have got receptors in the brain, but nothing fits these
Yeah,
receptors.
it's looking for.
So do you think that the brain
Same
is pre-conditioned to know what is going to come next, that will eventually begin to fit those receptors? And the same would be said for a plant. Slightly different, but even still.
Yeah.
Are those receptors prehistoric, or are those receptors in the brain for the future? I know it's the future, I believe, and some of them I know that they are for the past. But why does the brain bother making those if those same things from the past don't resurface again in the future? And then that's long-term prediction right there, already in your own head.
Mm.
And a part of thinking and processing and planning that's long-term. That's a level of knowing that baffles the mind, and we seem to be locked out of that. Do you ever see that? That's the sort of... That's interesting. Do you think it is? Do you ever find this stuff fascinating? I do, personally, but... Anyway, you're getting antsy, so I should really start to wind this one down. But still, it creates beautiful architecture.
Mm-hmm.
It's food security, and it can also create waste. But then where's the balance between what you grow? Communal. I think meat should never stick in a packet somewhere. I think it should be made to order. Are you going to eat it? I plan to have a roast dinner Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, come and see me. Someone else plans to have a roast. Someone else plans to have a roast. It's the same animal utilized, and then do you think that that's a bit better? I think the RSPCA should be doing more in that aspect. Food to order. You want the meat? Order it. If not, it's in a packet somewhere and it sits in a shop. And if they don't sell it, they'll chuck it or they'll give it away. Maybe. But I don't think they can give away that much food. You can't tell me there are that many people in food poverty. God, and that's a bizarre thing, isn't it? That there are people in food poverty whilst these shops have been binning food.
Yeah.
That's not humanity.
No, that's not human, is it?
And it took a push for them to do it.
Mm.
I just don't see how I could never have a conscience to do that. What, chuck it in a bin when I see people starving? That's something. I just find that maddening.
No, they will ask the customers to buy food, but whatever they have extra, they will check.
Yeah, but that's integrity, you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And then I'm to trust that this is all for my benefit that you're doing with all this food. I don't believe it. How can you have it that this is all for our benefit and this is all perfectly good food and we're not playing around with nothing at all, but we'll chuck it out even though we know people and soldiers of all people that come back from tour and they're on the streets. Not so much now. I know that's a change and that's a very positive direction, but of all people
Yeah.
that protected your fucking institutions. And that is just something. And if you can do that there, and then is it one person, one company, one group of board members? Have you found people that are like you, that are in that sort of fuck it? How do you do that? How do you even come up with that? Before this even lifts off the ground, I'm already thinking, how can we sort this and make it a bit better? Can we get the prices down for everyone? Rather than making it a problem that we have to grow this food and it will be more expensive and therefore you won't buy it anyway because there's only a small amount of people that are, like, oh man, it's interesting, isn't it? Oof, 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 oof. No, not all of you are like it, I'm sure. You've started giving it away now. But that took a push.
Yeah.
That wasn't already encoded into you as a human? No? Yes? I don't know, man. But then if we give it away for free, people won't buy our food. Yeah, this is an interesting point, Nat. That's an interesting point. Something needs to help you, but that's a... And then does it need something new to rise up in that? And then how do people get in these positions in the first place? Weird. Because there's not enough room. So then space is the next best thing then, isn't it? Because there's plenty of that. What's that word? Space, yes. Room.
Space.
Room to grow, room to expand. Not easy. It's going to have a lot of teething problems. People are going to die trying. That's going to be the thing. But how many people died running down in coal mines?
Yeah.
How many people were blinded? Never mind that. Poison checkers when they were testing whether this food was edible or not, which then led to the establishments that you've got now. It sort of comes this way, doesn't it? It's a little bit of the territory, I suppose. And there we have it. And then all the way around the world, you can start to grow this, and then you're all secure, ready for space. One step. Food security. Trying to get it in a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then you understand kosher. And then there's one more thing I'm going to touch upon. That would there be a kosher France Indian biome where you all come together and put all of your talents in one to create a brand new cuisine? Because that's another thing. If you've got a lot of these biomes around from multi areas, why do we have British cuisine? Why do we have French cuisine? Why do we have German cuisine? Where did it come from? Well, when we look back at it, most of this food has travelled and we found out that it grew here and some of it grew there and some of it grew over there and then they made a cuisine out of it and then it stopped. What happens if you had a multi-biome where you mix and match all of the food and then you have an outcome of cuisine, which then opens up restaurants on that? Brand new ones, new food that's never been eaten before. Would this then transform the cuisine going forwards? Would this make better, healthier foods? Would this give better, healthier alternates to drinks and better gases in the environment?
Maybe. That's possible.
Interesting. Anyway, right.
I think that happens on the border somewhere where two cultures meet, that there are foods that are not anywhere else.
Which opens Pandora's box, doesn't it? Whilst you're there, you get to learn about where it came from. That's a bit of history for you as you're waiting for your food to come. Maybe you're in a lucky enough position to be able to order it. But if it's on site, You know, never mind from farm to fork to plate, you know, whatever. No, it's straight from biome. They cook it immediately. They never make any more than they actually need. I only got a few numbers in today. These persons ordered this. Okay, I need this much of this much of this much of this. I don't need a freezer when I got this. And another one's like, well, we kind of need some of this. Okay, there you are. It helps us get a bit more wise with this. And then hopefully it stops waste, because it's landfill as well, isn't it? Waste is the... I think I missed out a T in there. Anyway, waste is a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And usually this comes from us storing too much food. But it would be interesting for me that if we did have this in space, would we find a way of stopping the bacteria growth? And could we find better ways to suspend it without utilizing freezing? Can we pump a gas in there that shuts it all down? And can we suspend it better utilizing a gas that's healthy enough that it doesn't affect us? Seems to be neutral. Yeah, it'd be interesting. We tend to not, what is it, hydrogen? Do we bind with that too much? I don't know, maybe this is a fuel source. Nitrogen, could say so. Carbon, could you flood it with carbon? What does this do? Does it slow it down? Does it speed it up? Does it rid it all? It's carbon based, okay. What about if we flood it in neat oxygen? What happens? Do you ever think there's a better way of storing food than this process that we have? Because clearly it's not working, right? It does and it doesn't, right? You only get a few... I think it's different when it's in sort of 0 G, isn't it? How long does this food last for? That's an interesting sort of question in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it still rot? What happens if you make a depressurization chamber and store food in it? Well, it ain't going to look very good. That's all right. Don't worry about that. How long does it last for in that state? Does it all start separating and breaking down? Does it remove the juices? What does it do? How do we have food stored in that type of process? Does it taste better? Those receptors in the brain? Yeah, maybe. How does food taste when it's been... all the air's been sucked out? If it's even possible. I mean, I just wonder what that's... Gas-free food. Well, I like that. Yeah, I just wonder, what did it do? What does it taste like? Would you eat it? Do you think it shuts down? Do you think it breaks down? Do you think it kills all the bacteria on it to nullify it? Can you seriously suspend food like that, do you think?
I don't know, maybe store blood and then suspend it.
Yeah, it would be a food storage process, yeah, because you're going to expect humanity to expand into that. And just in case any of these sort of, run into issues, you have enough sustainable. It's not great, but it's enough to get you back on your feet again. So anyway, right, I'm going to probably wind this one down. So receptors and different things like that, they're fascinating. Life forms are learning. They're always learning. And I think they all want to dominate in some weird way. Yeah. And I think this I like this one. This one I love. You can start this anywhere. You just got to have the will to do it. Plenty of deserts. Look at all the sand. It's disappearing from the beach. You know any deserts anywhere? Why? You want to scoop some of that sand up, do you? Remove the salt from it and, I mean, there's plenty. You haven't seen under the ocean, have you? No? Probably don't check then. There's not much sand there either. Anyway, but yeah, glass. Glass is a fascinating thing. Magnifying glass, interesting too. Not without its problems, but sure. Drought-proof, fireproof, all of that proof. Lovely. Robotics. Retirement, people who have retired. Might want to put in a little bit of free stuff there. Grow it yourself, better nutrition. What does it look like going forward? Do we become a stronger species? I think we do, quite naturally. Anyway, right, let's leave it there.
Okay.